Okay, does it show that we're recording?
Yes.
That's my one thing that I always feel like I forget to do for sure. Okay, so we're going to go live and have this done. There we go. Okay, so first of all, thank you guys so much for being on. This is something that we've kind of newly started doing for our team, and we are excited to be able to share this opportunity with you guys. So if you don't know, my name is Megan Strump. Not to be confused, I know it says Shauna Shaw on there. My lovely coach lets me use her Zoom, and so I do because it's awesome. So anyways, I've been a Beachbody coach for a little bit over 2 years now, and it's definitely has my heart and a passion that I never really knew that I had for health and fitness. And so it's kind of this newer passion that I've developed over the past couple of years. I hope that you guys get a little bit of a feel for that passion and that heart that not only myself, but this team has for what we get to do. And we are just tickled to death to share a little bit about our team. So our team in Beachbody lingo is a 3-star diamond team, which is super exciting and a huge accomplishment. We've recently been recognized as a top 200 out of, I think there's like 400,000 teams out there with Beachbody World. And so it is definitely something. We would consider ourselves pretty small, but very mighty. So we have a very small, tight-knit group, but we've got a lot of girls that are just awesome and have just this passion and fire in what they get to do. A little bit about our team. We definitely lead with our heart. We try to put people first and helping them get results and feel good and feel confident in what they're doing. We have a lot of positive energy. We definitely feed off of each other's energy. So if one of us is up and moving, we're not competitive. We love kind of feeding off of that and being able to support each other and help each other through this. We're looking for people that are definitely willing to be coachable, but also willing to just kind of take the resources that we have and run and make this coaching opportunity your own thing. So we definitely love to support along the way, but also support that kind of developing into your own coach and doing your own thing. So you'll probably hear us talk a little bit about that. What this is going to look like is hopefully we'll keep it around 25, 30 minutes. We'll see. We've got a lot to share, and we're very excited about what we get to share with you guys. But we'll kind of go through why we got started, some of the fears that we had that we know that you probably also have, kind of a little bit about what we love about coaching. And then we'll wrap up with what this has done for us and for our families, where we kind of see it going in the future. And then if you guys have any questions, we'll definitely be available to answer any questions at the end. If you would prefer to write down questions and directly ask the coach that invited you, you are more than welcome to do that also. So if this environment is a little intimidating, you're definitely welcome to ask those questions to the coach that invited you. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started and chat just a little bit about why I got started in coaching. So I did not have any financial goals when I started. I just kind of started because it really seemed like something that I personally needed for my own life. I was in the middle of a really rough year of teaching, and I was just feeling very negative. I just would come home from teaching all day and I would feel kind of stuck in this negativity. And I am very much someone who feeds off of other people's energy. So if, my students were just too cool for what I was doing during that day, I really took that to heart and it really kind of upset me. And I just was in a coach sneak peek kind of like this, and I just remember feeling the positive energy and the vibes, and I just felt it felt good to be around women who were driven and had goals for their life and were excited about what they were doing and exciting about the lives that they were changing. And I was like, I really want that for my life. There was one moment that I remember very directly, and it was in the sneak peek. And I remember one of the coaches just kind of talking about, if you could change one person's life, who is that person and what would that mean for you? And I was just thinking, like, if I could do this coaching thing and if I could really make a difference for my mom was my person. I thought if I could make a difference in her life, that would make this whole thing worth it. Like, if I could help her feel more confident, and if I could help her just really realize her full potential, then I knew that it would be a success. And I'm kind of excited to say we just went dress shopping last weekend for my wedding, and the pride on her face was crazy. It was so cool. And so now we get to share recipes. She is instructing my dad on how he should eat, which is also kind of a fine line. But it's just it makes it so worth it. It makes, what we get to do totally worth it. She doesn't really like being involved in our challenge groups. She kind of likes doing her own thing. And I expected it to be like that. I didn't expect her to kind of let me take her under my wing. But just being able to see all the other women's lives that I've gotten to change and inspire was enough to kind of get her started. And so that was it. That was why I started. I wanted to change other people's lives, and I wanted to find positive energy. So that has fulfilled itself times 100 for sure. So Elena, I'm going to shoot it over to you to kind of share why you got started with coaching.
Yes. I was kind of in a somewhat similar boat to Megan in terms of having a lot of negative energy going on in my life. My biggest thing was my daughter had just turned 1, and then like 2 months later I turned 30, and I was just kind of at this point in my life where I didn't feel like I was happy with where I was. I felt very stuck. I didn't feel like I was being as successful in my career. And I'm a fitness instructor, personal trainer, blah, blah, blah. I carry a lot of titles because that's what I have to do to be able to make a little bit more income in a smaller town. But I was just wasn't happy. I saw myself by the time I was 30 having a lot more success. And I just kind of felt like I was going through the motions with teaching my classes and trying to balance that with being a stay-at-home mom that took her daughter with her to all her classes and things like that. So I was just kind of feeling like torn between my career and my passion and being a mom. And I just wasn't happy. I was kind of struggling through a little bit of depression. I had a lot of anxiety about being a mom and just being protective and things like that. And I just was in a pretty bad place, and I was starting to kind of be a little bit destructive with the relationships around me because I wasn't having that inner peace and that inner joy that I wanted in my life. And so I actually joined a coaching sneak peek that was run by Megan, and my, at the time, coach had invited me. And I, within the first day, I knew it was for me. It was something I had kind of because I had done Beachbody programs in the past, so I kind of had that little, birdie or whatever whispering in my ear about the coaching opportunity, but I never could find that much information about it. And I knew, I was like, this is what I need to do. I just turned 30. I need to do something different with my life to keep moving forward. And I just knew that was for me. So I think the day we finished the sneak peek, I signed up that day. I didn't hesitate. I had already been talking to my husband about it. And so I just jumped all in. I knew what I needed to do. I had followed enough top coaches to kind of know what it all entailed. And so I just jumped right in, and I've been running after it ever since. And the biggest part is I no longer kind of suffer through some of those, negative mindset issues that I was having before. So that's kind of why I started coaching, but also because it also fulfills my passion in life, which is helping people achieve goals through lifestyle change. And I wasn't seeing that as much working in the gym because people weren't coming consistently enough to make it worthwhile. And now I get people showing up every day. So it's really cool to see people getting results and me having a hand in that. So
I love
cool.
I love that. So I'm going to chat a little bit next about some fears that I had when I was starting as a coach, because I definitely had a little more hesitation whenever I was starting than Elena did. She kind of started and took off and ran and saw success right from the get-go. And I definitely had to work through a couple of just internal things that I was worried about. And I'm pretty open about this on my page. If you follow my page, I had a huge fear of what other people would think of me. I was, have definitely been a people pleaser, a big part of my life. I really used to thrive off of other people's approval of what I was doing and the decisions I was making. And I was definitely worried that other people would question why I was posting, first of all, about health and fitness, because I'm a teacher. I am not a health and fitness professional. I'm a teacher. So I was worried that people would think, why in the world is she doing this? This is not her. Who is this person? What is she trying to do? And then I also had this fear that people would, see me as salesy and see me as someone who is just trying to make a quick buck, basically. And that couldn't be further from where my heart was in this coaching opportunity. And so I definitely, with the posting thing, honestly, all I did was I took that fear and I hit it head on. And I really tried to focus more on, I'm going to give value rather than I'm going to try to sell something. So you'll probably notice that I rarely use the product's names in my posts. I talk a lot about myself and my life and how I make this fit into my life and what I do and the food I eat and, the personal development that I'm learning and my dog and my experiences with my faith. And so I kind of focus more on posting about my life and my journey. I see my social media as more of my journal than I do as my sales technique, and that has worked. And it's fun to be able to do that. I love posting. I probably overpost if that's possible, but I love doing it because I love the feedback that I get from people. I get things like, you're so inspiring, and I tried this recipe and it was awesome, or I hadn't thought of that and I tried that mental thing and it, that mindset change and it worked for me. And getting that positive feedback just fuels me even more. And it makes me realize that what I have to say matters. And there's someone out there that needs to hear my story and needs to hear what it is that I have to contribute to the world. So that one took care of itself pretty quickly. The being salesy type thing, that is something that I had to kind of work through. And I had to really figure out, what are my intentions with coaching? Are my intentions to help people? Is it to help them see results? And if that's my intention, then that's how I go into a conversation. I go into a conversation of, I want to get to know you. I want to know what it is that you need from me. Can I meet that goal or can I not meet that goal? And I'll say, if it's a health and fitness goal, I'm usually pretty good at meeting it unless it's really extreme. And so I go in it, and talking about a product is the very last thing that comes up in the conversation, because I want to get to know that person, and I want to get to, especially if I'm going to try to help them, I need to know their ins and outs, their struggles. And these are all things that we talk about in our new coach training. We talk about your posting and how to not be creepy and salesy in your posting. And we talk about your conversations and how to have genuine connections and conversations with people that you want to help. And so I don't want you guys to think, oh my gosh, I've got to figure all this on my own. No, this is something that we talk about in detail during our new coach training, and we share a lot of our own scripts and what we do in our conversations, so that when you're starting out, you can kind of get a feel for what it is that that works. How does it work? How do you simplify what we do? So I'm going to kind of shoot it back over to Elena, and she's going to talk about her favorite parts of coaching.
Yes. Hands down, my favorite part of coaching is being a part of our team. I love, Megan talked a little bit earlier about that positive energy and that support system and things like that. And that's the biggest thing we get from coaching. I am the oldest of 4 girls, 4 sisters, and I was only about 9 months old, not even, when my mom got pregnant with my next sister. So I literally have no memories of life of not having like that kind of sisterhood type relationship. And so when I got married, my husband and I first moved out to Yorktown, Virginia, where we were 1,000 miles away from anyone we knew. And it was really hard for me because my husband's the opposite of me. He's the youngest of 3 boys, and his brothers are 7 and 8 years older than him. So he can very easily be home by himself and have no conversation with anyone for like an entire weekend and be in love with it. And I'm like, that sounds so depressing to me. I would drive myself nuts. But so that was something because it was hard for me to always get that type of connection and relationship with him. And then I was also so far away from my family. It was hard for me. And then we moved to his hometown. And so it's just been hard for me I miss out on that kind of connection with other women. And I've never been like a girly girl. I actually get along better with guys. But this group is like, it's like a well-fit glove. Like for my lifestyle and my personality, like I never feel, you know how when you hang out with some women, you feel like you're trying to like so hard to impress them, like they're high maintenance. And I've never felt like that. It's felt so natural, so effortless. I felt very accepted from the beginning because my sisters can be a little bit rough sometimes, and they've always told me that they think I'm annoying and that I can be bossy. And well, now I can use that bossiness to kind of help lead my own little team and help Megan kind of co-lead this team. And so it's kind of those things that people have kind of given me a hard time about kind of fit into what I do. But that's probably one of my favorite parts. Another thing is just when you're talking to women and you get them in your accountability groups, and they might struggle in the beginning because it is hard to change bad habits. But when you get them to the point of that click where it just like that light bulb lights up in their head and they're like, oh, this is how I make this work for my life. Like, because we focus in our groups a lot on mindset and how to work through different struggles that we've experienced, that we've helped other women through. And when you get that light bulb moment with someone, it almost makes you like tear up with like pride and happiness and all sorts of stuff, because you know that they're now going to have more success in their life, not just with their fitness journey, but in all areas. Like I've heard women say that they no longer hate going to work as much, or they like find more joy in the little things in life. And it's all because they're working on themselves, not just on the outside, but on the inside. And that is probably like one of the coolest things to be able to say, I helped with that. I helped that woman get to that point. Because we've all been through that journey ourselves to some degree. So being able to share that and pay that forward to someone else is just it's just like breathtaking. It's so awesome and so exciting. And it just makes you want to help that many more people to get to that light bulb moment where everything starts to kind of fall together. So that's kind of my favorite part, are my two favorite parts that probably stand out the most. Now I'm going to go a little bit into what has coaching done for me, because this one's probably a little bit more emotional. Hopefully I can keep it together because I've kind of had a little bit of a cough, so I don't want to start like crying and then hacking, and so I'm going to try to keep it together. But probably the biggest thing coaching has done for me, and I kind of touched on this with why I became a coach, but it's helped me kind of come out of that kind of sad, negative place I was in, with feeling torn between being a mom and pursuing my passion, because now I get to do both. And hopefully someday, with this other little baby on the way in the next 3 months, I will be able to have the opportunity to do this full time. And so I can really be a full-time mom without juggling my kids at workout classes and a coach. But it's helped me now, with knowing I'm having 2 girls, build that inner confidence that I want to be able to teach them how to have. Because I was not in a good place to be able to, here comes the waterworks, lead a little girl to learn how to be strong and how to stand up for what she believes in and to pursue her dreams and her passions in life, because I wasn't doing that to my full capacity, and now I feel like I am. And I think that's, something that brings me so much joy. And while I'm not perfect, and no one is, I feel so much more at peace with being able to raise daughters, because of how far I've come in my own journey, and my inner strength and my mental strength and things like that. Another thing is just like I'm still working my way there, but I'm already seeing just kind of a burden lifted from my family's shoulders in terms of having a little bit more financial freedom and time freedom, because I am now like halfway through my 2nd year of coaching, and I'm starting to see more of that kind of turnaround of the finances and things like that. And that's probably been one of the biggest, sorry, I need to take a drink. One of the biggest strains my husband and I have had on our marriage is debt. And being able to get closer to a point where we can someday be free from that is just such an amazing feeling. Because my husband has in the almost 6 years that he's worked at his job, he has pulled overtime more weeks than he has it. And he's allowed me to be able to be with my daughter and cut back a little bit on some of my fitness classes. And so I want to be able to pay that back to him. And I know that this opportunity is going to do that. So those are probably the biggest things that coaching has done for me. I could go on, but I don't want to keep hacking because my throat starts to get dry when I talk too much. But those are probably the biggest things for me that really stand out about what coaching has done for me. So I'm going to send it back to Megan for her to share her experience with coaching.
Yeah, thanks, Elena. I don't get as emotional about mine, but it's still very exciting, and I love seeing your heart and your passion for it, for sure. So I think personally, I have definitely developed into, and this is almost scary to even say it, but I've developed into this leader. And it was never something that I imagined being. I imagined teaching for 30 years and being a mom for some of those years. And, leading a household, but not necessarily leading other women, and definitely not leading other strong women. That was super intimidating, and definitely not even something that I saw the first 6 months of coaching even. It's something that it has developed over time, and I am so proud and excited and honored to be able to have that as part of my journey, I guess, and something that coaching has allowed me to become more of, because these other women started relying on me for guidance and help, and I loved being able to then be there for them. And so I think along with that, obviously, came confidence, because you can't be a leader without gaining confidence. And there's something about this opportunity that kind of gets you out of your comfort zone, and being outside of your comfort zone develops confidence. I don't know if there's any other way to explain it, but that has what I've seen happen for sure. Financially, it's been a slow go. I don't want to leave this call with you all thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to make bank in the first month as a coach. It's not that case, but it is one of those things where it first developed, and it started out as paying for groceries for the month. And then it came into paying for groceries, and my Shakeology was paid for in another month. And then, I feel like I went down the road, and I remember the month that and this is totally a God thing, but the month that I moved into this house, I bought this house on my own as an independent woman. I was not with Zach at all at the time, but I bought this house, and I remember the month that I moved in, I earned the same, almost to the dime, the same amount with coaching that I did with my mortgage. And I mean, if there isn't God in this whole equation, I don't know what it is. And then it's funny, because the next week, there was something, we were painting the house. My parents were coming to paint the house, and that week paid for the paint. So it was the coaching from that week paid for the paint for this house. And it's like, it's crazy how those little extra things, coaching has come and kind of eased the burden, if you will. Now it's turned into that I have out-earned my 8-year teaching income, and I have my master's with it. And so it's crazy to even think that something that I do in half the amount of time almost that I teach, not even half that. I've been coaching for 2 years, but even the amount of time that I put into coaching is not nearly as much as I put into teaching. And it's been something that has grown, thankfully, from our team, but also, it's definitely something that takes work, but it has been worth every single minute that I've put into it, because not only do you get to set yourself and your family up, but also you're helping women at the same time, and they see it and they realize it and they're thankful for it. And, along with that, we get to go, our honeymoon is in Punta Cana, and that was, a Success Club trip that I got to earn. Next year, I earned the trip to Riviera Maya. We're still deciding. It depends on if there is a bun in the oven, if we get to go on that trip or not. But I just got back from Los Angeles. I got to go to a new leadership conference. We've gone to Nashville. We're going to New Orleans. So if you like to travel, this is one of the things that gets to help you travel a little bit more. I never imagined being able to travel this much on someone else's dime also, which it also helps. It's kind of nice to be able to do that. I know that in the future, this is going to allow, like Elena said, more time with my kids someday. And I don't want you to think that that has to be your end goal by any means. When I first started coaching, that was not even on the radar. I didn't even have a boyfriend, I think, when I started coaching, but it's developed into something, and it's nice to feel like that can happen, and it doesn't have to happen on just one income. I can still contribute and follow my passion, and also be able to spend more time with kids. So that wraps up, kind of our little coach call today. I want to talk a little bit about next steps. And then if you guys have questions, I definitely want to be able to answer questions. So kind of from here, If this is something that you feel like is a good fit for you, and I definitely encourage you guys to pray on it. If you are unsure, I definitely encourage you to ask questions. But if you feel like this team is a pretty good fit and it would be something good for you, and this opportunity would be something that would be good for you and your family, we definitely would love to have you for sure. And so I definitely encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you to this and just to talk to them a little bit more, ask them questions. You want to make sure that they are a good fit for you also, which I know that if they're on our team, they're going to be, because they're rock stars for sure. But, you know, we are definitely in the business of helping people become more financially and physically fit, and that's what we do. And so we're always willing, if this is not the opportunity for you, we're always love feedback. So if you were like, girl, you all need to stop talking so much on that coach call, you talked forever, let us know that. If this is not the fit for you, it might be the fit for someone else. And if we can do a better job, we want to hear that also. So we love positive, but also critical feedback for sure. So I just want to let you guys know a couple of things. One, now's the time. Like, people are thinking of summer, people are ready to get started. And so if you are like, oh my gosh, I might not be very successful, right now is the time, because people are thinking about their fitness. I started coaching in December, like the worst month to start coaching, because people are more thinking about Christmas cookies than they are fitness, but I made it work. Right now is springtime. It's an awesome time to get started for sure. And then we are going to be starting what we call our new coach tribe camp the first Monday of April. So it is, I don't have the exact date. I think it's the 3rd, maybe. I'm not sure. What's that? Is it the 3rd? Okay, yes. So we're starting that. And what we do is basically we try to take what we do and we make it as simple as possible. So we break it down to, you know, a couple of things that you for sure need to do to see success. We share our resources. We share basically the basics of what we do to help you see success in that first month as a coach. So it's been super successful. The girls that went through the tribe camps this month have been seeing some good success for sure. And it's been exciting. So I want to open it up. If you guys have any questions, I'm definitely willing to answer any questions. I'm going to turn off my live video because anyways, so I don't know if there were any questions at all. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on. I see Samantha on and then a number. I'm not sure who that is, but thank you guys so much for being on, and we will be in touch for sure. So have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
You want to stop or